Good morning, everyone. I'm Yolanda Harper, and Alina is here. We are in Harper Therapy offices. I know where we are. We're in Harper Therapy. We're home. So we wanted to just spend a couple of minutes today talking to you guys about anxiety. And how do you know if what you're experiencing is anxiety? So we've talked a little bit recently about how to find a therapist to help with anxiety. We have talked about what that first session looks like, but let's talk about really what anxiety is, what different experiences of anxiety might be, because we all experience it a little bit differently, right?
And you may or may not know that anxiety affects a lot of people. It's actually the most common mental health issue in the United States. And it affects about 40 million adults every year, age 18 and older. That's almost 20% of the population, so 18%. It's a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know?
And so let's just kind of like, we want to talk about the frequency to say you're not alone. And as human beings, it really is just a matter of time before you experience anxiety. Hello. Saying hi to the people joining us on our Facebook Live today. So anxiety is a natural response to stress. It engages the sympathetic nervous system and engages that fight, flight, freeze response. And so that can feel a bunch of different ways. One way that people experience anxiety, it's energy in our body.
Physiological. It's like you feel it in your body, like it feels like a physical symptom.
It is a physical symptom. And that's why it's called a feeling. That's why they're called feelings.
Right.
So for many of us, anxiety can be a racing heartbeat, a pounding in the chest, right? That can also be met with some distress in the stomach and the digestive system.
Knots in the stomach. Also, you know, some people feel it in their throat, you know, like the throat closing up, like it feels like you're suffocating a little bit.
Or your mouth gets really dry. Tension in muscles, a lot of times shoulders and upper back, but also lower back, mid back can be affected. Tension in neck. We can get headaches. We can also have an experience of not being able to focus and not remember things. Because what happens in the brain neurobiologically is that energy is being directed from the prefrontal cortex, the thinking, rational, logical part of our brain, to the emotion seat of our brain, the limbic system, that fight, flight, freeze. So it makes it much harder for us to concentrate, much harder for us to focus. What are some other things? So primarily, many people experience chest and stomach. That's where a lot of us experience emotions.
Right.
What else?
On a cognitive level, you know, what my experience with anxiety has been is, you know, it's this feeling of being out of control. It's like we don't have control, so my mind is racing, trying to figure things out, and then, you know, it affects all these other parts of me too. And a lot of anxiety is just this, like, projection. Like, I don't know how to kind of have order and control in my life.
For me, it's a lot of what if. A lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
Like, what if?
Exactly.
What if this bad thing happens? What if this horrible thing happens? Right?
And that's why, you know, we use mindfulness so much as a tool with anxiety, because it really brings you back to the present moment of, you know, staying in the here and now, because we really can't control the future. Wish we could. Wish I had a crystal ball. We always talk about
the magic wand,
the
crystal ball.
Right. Wish it happened, but, you know, none of us do. I mean, if someone did, they would be a, you know, really, really, really wealthy person and have the solution, you know? So we don't have that. So we have to find those tools that work for us to bring us into the moment, because we really don't have control over the future.
So when anxiety gets really ramped up, we experience that as what we call a panic attack. And that's where the intensity of the symptoms just kind of go overboard. And a lot of times people will experience that and really question their physical health and, you know, their cardiac health. A lot of times people will experience it in their chest and even need to go to the emergency room to rule out any cardiac symptoms. So when do you need help with addressing your anxiety? So a lot of times we navigate through kind of lower level feelings of anxiety and stress by doing things like mindfulness, by exercising, by those kinds of things. But when we really want to be aware of reaching out for help and professional help, is when it starts impacting your life, right?
Great point. Yeah. When it starts really interfering with those things that you do on a daily basis, you know, not being able to go out to certain places or to perform certain, you know, functions in your daily life. I think that's when it's like, you know, it starts to really cause some consequences.
Yeah. So it reaches a different threshold at that point, and that's where you really should find some support, some professional support to build some tools and some skill sets of navigating through, kind of getting a better understanding of your anxiety so it doesn't have such a grip on you. If you would like some support and some help with that, we would be happy to help you. Give our office a call at 813-434-3639, and we hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. Bye.